What is good, homies? Welcome back to another deck profile. Today, I'm going to be showing off my Hecahands Ryzeal deck list. I have been playing with the Hecahands engine a lot. I love it. I don't think it's very good, but the concept of monster stealing and potentially stealing spell and traps is really, really fun, and when timed right, it can be really powerful. I also found the Ryzeal rank 4 extra deck lock isn't a huge problem for Hecahands because you can set both of your traps without even going into your extra deck, and a detonator plus cross plus 2 Hecahands traps is a really, really hard board to break. I'll show the combo at the end just so you can kind of see my idea, but let's just get into it. So, of course, we play Ryzeal. So we play 2 ice, 2 sword, 1 X, 1 node. This is as much Ryzeal as you can play, monster-wise. It is what it is. These cards are excellent. You just very rarely see them. I am at 41 cards, so you could go to 40. You could also, I side deck the Prosperity. You could main deck it to make things a little bit more consistent, but I used the toy engine to make the Ryzeal part more consistent. It still wasn't consistent, but it was the best I could do. This is just the state of Ryzeal at the moment. And then for the Ryzeal spells, 1 bonfire, 1 cross, 1 plugin. Yeah, gotta play all these. Bonfire, super obvious. Cross, an incredible card. Plugin, not as good, but lets you play around Nibiru, and if you maybe get hand trapped on one of your Ryzeals, it can help you get into your detonator. I don't opt to play either of the Ryzeal traps. I just think they're a little too bricky, especially considering you're playing Hecahands, which main decks 2 traps. And we'll get into Hecahands. I play 2 copies of Ibtel and 2 copies of Yadel. Yeah, I like these ratios. I think if you play any more, you're at risk of breaking a little bit, and it can be nice to have multiple of these, but really you just want to open one or like one of each. And any more than that isn't great, so I like these ratios. They're both searchers. They shuffle back into the deck, which I found is really, really nice in a grind game because you're very likely to just draw them again and get going. Their graveyard effects don't come up as much as I would hope. When they do come up, it can be super duper nice. Something I've started like doing is if I'm going second, off of Hecahands Ibtel, which is the one that special summons a monster, I can special summon a Yadel and use Yadel plus a toy or Ryzeal to go into Chaos Angel, and then recycle a spell or trap from grave and get your Chaos Angel. So very strong stuff. And then for the big guys, we play 1 Brius and 1 Gygus. I opted to main deck the Godos just because going first, it is a part of your board, but it doesn't really enhance your game state, if that makes sense. Whereas these two help you go into the fusion. Really, Gygus pretty much guarantees you can go into the fusion, which can be really, really nice if you have only set 1 trap so far and you want to get your second trap. Maybe you want to recycle a monster or a spell or trap from grave with the fusion. Gygus kind of guarantees you can go into the fusion because the odds that you see 1 monster out of 3 cards on top of your opponent's deck is really high. Brius, it's a lot less likely you're going to get a monster steal. However, this is a lot more penalizing. And if I'm locked into the extra deck anyway with Ryzeal, I'd rather go for a Brius, which still makes your trap cards live, and then also has the chance to steal a monster that can be absolutely devastating for your opponent. Off of Brius, I've stolen a Dwarmouse, I've stolen a Phimena, I've stolen a Lantern, which I use to search my own Azuna. There's just a lot of great things you can steal. It's risky. There's a chance you just hit nothing, but the worst is a little bit of hand information and your trap cards are still live. So if you're locked out of the extra deck, may as well. That's kind of my theory on the big guys. I think you have to play 2 because if one gets totally outed, your traps could just not be live for the rest of the game, which is a problem. And then we play 3 of the spell. I play the toy engine, which synergizes super well with this spell. And it's just like a 1-card starter for your Hecahands stuff. If you activate it and send one other card you control, you get to set a spell or trap, which makes it really, really easy to get both your traps on the board for your end board. And then its second effect, you really shouldn't activate. Maybe going second and you want to get your Godos on the board, you can activate its effect. It works for any of the big guys. They will all trigger to summon themselves. However, giving your opponent a draw one, discard one just isn't worth it, I think, ever, unless you're super desperate. So, but it's a starter, so that's what's important about it. And then one of each of the traps. There's an argument to only main deck one because these are super bricky. You don't want to draw them because if you draw these and you draw no other Hecahands engine, they are totally dead. You have to control a Hecahands monster for them to be activated. And getting one on the board isn't very hard. As long as you have one of the starters or the spell, you should be able to get a Hecahands on the board. Or even if you hard draw one of the big guys, if you get Charmed, you can summon the big guys out. Or if you're going second, there's going to be an opportunity for you to summon them out. However, they're super duper strong. I should probably explain. So this is a spell and trap negate, and then it allows you to set it to your field. This is a monster negate and allows it to summon to your field. If your opponent doesn't know what they're doing, they can get penalized super hard by these. Most recently, I stole a Murakumo using this, and he just scooped up instantly because he went from going to Ryzeal combo to now he doesn't have access to Murakumo, and I have his Omni negate. And the spell and trap steal can be super duper useful. You can steal a one of and just keep it on your field and make sure your opponent doesn't have access to it. For instance, a Draco Tail trap or a Malice trap or a Branded Fusion or something similar. You can just hold it hostage, essentially. Or if it's something useful for you, like an Imperm, stuff like that, it gives you a lot of outplay potential, I think, these two traps, and they're good. They're just, the fact that they require you to control a Hecahands monster, I really wish it was you can reveal a Hecahands monster, or if you control a Hecahands monster, kind of like Primite Drill Beam. I think that would be a lot stronger, but it is what it is. They're good traps regardless. And then they're back. I love these cards. Any excuse I have to run them, I run them, for better or for worse. But the toys actually work really, really well in this deck. If you have Hidden Hecahands and one toy box, this is full Hecahands and Ryzeal combo. Just those two cards. And I'll display that later. These just give you a lot of extra consistency. It lets you go into duo drive more easily if you maybe get hand trapped on Ryzeal stuff or you don't open any Ryzeal stuff. All you need is to pop your two toys and then boom, you can go into duo drive. I think it really works well in this deck. It is a little bricky at times, hard drawing the toy tank doesn't feel great, but it has its uses. Toy tank lets you special summon a level 6 or lower monster from your hand, or if you control toy box, your graveyard. And that can be really useful to summon a Hecahands Ibtel or Yadel, and then go into Chaos Angel, or you can special summon a Ryzeal card and trigger its search effect. It's still a really solid card. I think it's very underutilized. Soldier is great, and if you have nothing going, normal summon Toy Soldier isn't the worst play in the world. It doesn't net you a ton of advantage because you're only searching toy box, but if you have, say, Hidden Hecahands, you can search toy box effect, set toy tank, Hidden Hecahands, pop toy tank, then you can use these two to go into duo drive, and it's not the cleanest Ryzeal combo, but it still lets you get into detonator. So yeah, I feel good about the toys. I often side them out because I side in Dimension Shifter, but they're worth it to play purely for the consistency piece. Ryzeal is just so hit on the ban list. You have to have something extra to help you get to those cards. I thought it worked pretty well. Hand traps, we got 3 Ash, 3 Fua. I think there are very few decks that aren't running 3 Ash, 3 Fua. I think it's just what you do. And then aside from that, we got 2 Imperm, 2 Nib. I liked these choices for the most part. Nib was not as live as I would have hoped it was. I frankly think I just kind of got unlucky with my matchups because I think Nib is a very, very good card right now. And I do play Gallant Granite. I was running one Nib, and then I found myself not getting to Gallant Granite very consistently. So I decided to just play two, and then I still play the Gallant Granite. So if I do full combo, I can get the Nibiru out. And then Imperm, I really, really like. It's a good board breaker. It's a good hand trap. I just think it's a very underutilized card right now. One called by. Gotta play it. Busted card. I play 3 Zuna, 1 Lupus. I decided instead of a couple more hand traps, I would play this package, which basically is a hand trap. And I really, really liked it. Going first, if they tried to hand trap you like mid Ryzeal combo, which I think any decent player would because Ryzeal is really easily interrupted, you have a punish for that. And then also going second, you have a way to play on turn 0 that your opponent has to respect. Ripper is just such a stupid card, in my opinion, that an Azuna is a threat. And then I even think hard drawing Lupus isn't bad because there's a lot of decks where you can threaten a Typhon, and that'll really, really screw up a lot of decks. Overall, I was super happy playing this little package. Shout out Jeremy for these 3 Azunas. I drew Azuna all the time because Jeremy's goated, I think. But yeah, that's it for the main deck. 41 cards, I believe, and super duper happy with the main deck. The deck just isn't great going second, frankly, but going first, if you draw 2 of the cards you need to get going, you really get going. And I was playing against some like real meta decks that just had no way to break that board. So we'll get into the extra deck. 1 sheep token. Keep the MF thing on me. Yes, sir. 1 detonator. 1 duo drive. Yeah, Ryzeal. Big monsters. I love mechs. Just a PSA to anyone out there. And these cards are great. Duo drive just generates you so much advantage. Detonator is just an incredibly strong card. Detonator itself, when you have a little bit of backup, like in this case in the form of the Hecahands stuff, it does a lot of damage. But anyways, I'm a little biased. 1 aggregator. I don't play the Eclipse Twins. There's an argument to, but the extra space is sort of tight, and I think aggregator is just guaranteed to be a good thing to attach to Detonator, whereas Eclipse Twins, if you can't get that extra rank 4 in the grave, it's useless. So I think I just play it safe, or I don't think I play it safe. I just play it safe with 1 aggregator, and I think that works. 1 Baguska, 1 Hecaton Knight, 1 Gallant Granite, and 1 Castell. Yeah, I feel good about all of these. Baguska is a great option if you don't have a whole lot going. If you set up Baguska and maybe like a Hecahands counter trap, there's not a whole lot they can do because you can just trap the first thing that they do that would out Baguska. Hecaton Knight, fantastic card going second. Always threatens a response and really easy to go into. It's generic. Gallant Granite is good. If you full combo, you can get an extra nib. Did do it. And then Castell, okay board breaker, mostly as a target, not as a target, mostly as a body for Harpy's Featherstorm, which I do play, unfortunately. The one change I would make is I would play Dugaris, just so I could OTK a little bit more easily. And I will point out what card I would cut. Ripper. I kind of already explained why I play Zuna. This card is just ridiculous. I kind of hope it gets banned. Because it's just ridiculous. 1 Harmonizer Gradiel. Never summon this. The theory is if you hard open one of the Hecahands monsters and then you have another Hecahands Searcher piece, you can go into this card, and it's pretty nice interruption, but the issue with doing that is that you've now turned off your Hecahands traps, so never ended up summoning it. I would totally replace that with Dugaris. And then more mechs. I love mechs. Typhon and Zeus. Typhon especially, just absolutely incredible. There's just a lot of decks that hate to see Typhon coming. Always works. Yeah, I think this deck is very, very likely to get you into a grind game because it's not the greatest deck and it kind of has trouble swinging for a game. So Typhon is just a perfect card for that. And then Zeus, I think, is a great pair with Typhon. And then it's just a great card in general. I use this one a ton, especially if I get hand trapped to death and maybe all I have is a Ripper. Like Ripper into Zeus because it has the Lupus attached, there's just not a whole lot they can do about the Zeus. So stellar card. I think it is a must play in any Xyz deck. And then 2 Hecahands Fusion, stellar card, lets you recycle Hecahands cards from grave, and it lets you add any Hecahands card from your deck. It gets you anything you want. If you need your other trap, go for it. If you're in a grind game and you want to get something from the grave, go for it. You can get monsters from your deck. You can get monsters from the grave. And then it's also an illusion. All the Hecahands cards are illusions. So very often people think they can go for game and just beat over it. And it's in defense mode. I'm like, no, you gotta pop it somehow. Unfortunately, the Hecahands engine just kind of sucks, but whatever. Chaos Angel, this card, MVP. It's really easy to summon because of your Hecahand stuff. And there are a lot of decks that really have trouble outing it. I was playing against Malice, and I stole one of their traps. That's the non-target banish. And then they just really didn't know what to do with this thing. It was like impossible to kill. You know, given it could have been destroyed by battle, but I was able to keep them from going into their big links, and Chaos Angel was just there. Great card. And then SP, you gotta play it, just in case. It always comes up at some point. Yeah, that is it for the side deck. Now we will go in, or sorry, that is it for the extra deck. Now we'll go into the side deck. I'll put these two together because they go together. 1 Shifter, 1 Prosperity. You gotta play Shifter. This deck can play through Shifter. The Hecahand stuff especially can play through Shifter really well. The Ryzeal stuff, not as much, but if you're playing against, say, like Draco Tail, if you're able to Shifter and then set up Detonator plus 2 Hecahands traps, they're not doing anything. They're not playing. And then on your turn, you can kill them pretty easily on the crackback. Prosperity is because you need to side out your toy cards if you're going for Shifter, because they are absolutely useless under Shifter. So you just play Prosperity for a little bit of extra consistency. I thought it was good. I think I only drew the Prosperity once, and I only drew the Shifter twice. And I think I played this deck at 3 locals, so it's at a 1-of, so it's kind of random, but if you do draw it against the right matchup, it's just game over, so you gotta play it. 3 Thrust. We play the Harpy's Featherstorm, so you gotta play 3 Thrust. And then you've also have Bonfire and Hidden Hecahands, which are searchable going second with Thrust, so it's just a really great card overall because of that. Yeah, I don't have a whole lot to say. Thrust was really, really great. It also is threatening, and if they are saving an Ash, they have to Ash that when you're going second, and that can maybe allow you to like normal summon Ice and then pop off from there. Some Harpies cards, because I love the Harpies archetype. Just kidding. I have no clue what the Harpies archetype does. However, I know these cards are stupidly fucking busted, and so I play them. Harpy's Featherstorm. Seriously, this is the most brain dead card ever printed, I think. And the fact that they haven't banned it already is heinous. But you play it because, of course, you want to turn skip your opponent. And then the Duster is great. You play Thrust anyway, so thrusting into a Duster against like Draco Tail especially, I mean, they probably flame the Thrust, but that flaming of the Thrust can help you, you know, activate your Bonfire and Hecahands or something or other. So I think I really like Duster inside because I play Thrust. Hecahands Godos. I mentioned I decided to side this earlier, and I still feel good about that. Again, I just hate drawing this card going first. I hate it so much, I genuinely think it's worth to side it. I don't think it's worth to main deck it. Sure, it is good interruption on your opponent's turn. If you maybe get Charmied, you can set it up on your board, and it does do something. It doesn't get you any cards. It's totally dead until your opponent's turn. Given the value of its interruption is super solid, don't get me wrong. I would much rather draw the other big monsters, which are going to gain me some sort of advantage that turn, rather than draw this one. If this is all you have set up in like one Hecahands trap, you're losing. That's kind of my rant on Hecahands Godos. I really think you just have to side it, but I'd be happy to hear other opinions as well. 2 Mulcharmies, 2 extra Mulcharmies, I should say. There's an argument to play more of these, honestly. I don't know what I'd cut from the side, but it was awesome having these cards, especially if you are siding out your toy stuff and siding in Shifter. You have some extra room going second, and man, if you draw a Shifter Charmy, game over, depending on what you're playing. I like Mulcharmy Meows over something like Lancia because rather than turn skipping and potentially not having any plays to make, I would much rather go for Meows and then have infinite plays to make, sort of. And then 3 Droll. Oh my god. I think I may just main deck this card, frankly, because I find myself wanting to side in Droll more than I feel like I need to side it out, if that makes sense. So this card's just great. There was a lot of Enneacraft at the past couple locals, which I fucking hate that deck, by the way, but that's an aside. Droll is just great. Again, there's an argument to main deck it. I probably will, if I ever play this deck again, which I'm going to take a little bit of a break from it, but I definitely will play it again. Yeah, that's it for the deck profile. Congratulations to Sebastian for winning this Ultimate Rare K9 66A Jokel. You have a day to respond to me on Discord, or I will forfeit your prize to someone, I don't know. Comment on this video if you're seeing this, and if Sebastian hasn't claimed his prize, this Jokel could be yours. I don't know why it's so hard for me to give away an ulti Jokel, but this is what I get for trying to be nice, I suppose. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.
Alright, here's the combo I was talking about. Ideally, you're opening Hidden Hecahands and Toy Box, just in case you get drolled on the Adele, but this works because you can just reveal, search Hidden Hecahands, activate Toy Box effect, set 2, like so. Hidden Hecahands, send your Soldier, and then search Ibtel, and then you're going to set one of your traps, doesn't matter which because you're going to get both anyway, and then we go Toy Soldier effect, search Ice Ryzeal. And then here, we're going to go Ice Ryzeal, Special Sword, Sword effect, search X, and you do this way to play around Nib. You're going to want to Duo Drive with your 2 Ryzeals to make Cross Draw live. And then we're going to go Duo Drive to search Cross Plugin. If you want to overextend and you're not worried about Nib for whatever reason, you can search Cross Node. I already had the node, so I don't need to. We're going to activate Cross Chain Plugin for the anti-Nib play. Just revive the ice. And then attach the other sword. I like to do that in case I hard draw ice, because you can hard draw ice and pop your toy tank. And then from here, we're going to do our Hecahand stuff. We're going to go Ibtel into Gygas. Gygas effect. Here, if you want, you can go Brius. If you feel confident in your board already, like perhaps one of the Hecahands traps isn't as useful. I just set the spell and trap negate thoughtlessly, but you can go into Brius, and that can be a really hard punish, but I want to go into the fusion for sure, so I went into Gygas. We're going to go Jowza in the extra monster zone to save some space. Jowza search the other trap. Set that, and then from here we can go X. X can't search because we have Jowza on the field, but that's not a problem for us. And then we can go into our detonator here to create some space. Detonator, attach that aggregator. And then we can go node. So right here, we can go node effect, pop toy tank. The problem is we don't have space, so it doesn't really matter. I mean, you can just pop the toy tank for free anyway. May as well. And then that lets us go into our gallant granites. We already have a nib, but if you didn't have a nib, may as well. Make sure you detach your Ryzeal. That way you can activate cross, shuffle back those two, and get a draw. Called by, good draw. Yeah, here's the board. We have the Hecahands stuff in the form of 2 traps. We have full Ryzeal, detonator, duo drive with a material for cross. We got a nib, and then you have 3 random cards. In my case, I have an imperm, another nib, and a called by, all of which are good. And then you also have the toy box effect. If they try to go battle phase to maybe beat over your detonator, I'm trying to think of what deck could maybe do that. I don't think that's a good idea. But the toy box effect does come up sometimes. Lets you pop the attacking monster. And yeah, that's the combo. I think it's pretty strong. Obviously very interruptible, very susceptible to droll. But if you're able to get going, this board hasn't been broken for me. And people have tried with very good decks. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the combo tutorial. And thanks for watching the deck profile.